Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to episode 29 of the Fourth Down Forum podcast. Now, I know y'all are going to have a lot of questions. One, what is the dude who's dressed like Grimace doing dressed as the Jolly Green Giant? Ho, ho, ho. Two, why did Thanos switch skin tones with Gamora? Again, fair questions. But let's get into the nitty and gritty, no diddy, and talk about what we're about to cover today. So, obviously, this is not the team I'm normally representing full time. Well, actually, I am. Let's get a little more further into that. Obviously, y'all know, those who know me, those who follow the page, follow the channel, know I am a diehard Baltimore Ravens fan. What y'all may not know is I'm also, unless you're like a really close friend, family, I'm also a diehard Packers fan. How did that come to be? Well, teenage Dereck, when he was getting into football, I know, crazy. I didn't used to like football at all when I was a kid. But teenage Dereck, when he was, getting into football, going through some stuff, 2015, no, before that, 2011, the Ravens were eliminated from the conference championship game by the New England Patriots because of what I like to dub the Cundiff conundrum. However, the AFC representative in that Super Bowl was the Pittsburgh Steelers. The NFC representative was yours truly, the Green Bay Packers. So because they beat them, and I'm a Ravens fan and have a strong despise for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I respect the hell out of them. I do not like them as a team, as rivals shouldn't. But that is how me being a Packers fan came to be about. But enough yapping. Let's talk about what we're getting into today. So, in years previously, I used to do give me a second to readjust here. I used to do the episodes on the NFL predictions as one big whole, just like one big AFC, NFC, division, times two. These are who I think is going to win. This year, we're going in a little bit of a different direction. We're going to take it NFC, which is what we're covering today. That's why I'm decked out in the Packers gear. So I will give you the predictions for the NFC North, the NFC South, the NFC East, and the NFC West. Give my thoughts and takes on them. It won't be like a overall record prediction because I put a poll on the Fourth Down Forum Twitter page, and it was a vote on whether y'all wanted to see weekly pick'em episodes. And that had a resounding yes, 67% yes, and then 40-something% no. So we will be locked in doing weekly pick'em episodes once the season starts, which is, at the time of this recording, it will be starting this Thursday. So there should be another episode dropping Thursday. That said, if you haven't already got your merch, your gear for the season, I am happy to announce, this is not news, new to some, not new to others. We are a Fanatics affiliate, so we are partnered with Fanatics. So if you use a link, or if you see me on social media posting a link anywhere, whether that be Twitter, whether that be Instagram, Facebook, any of my socials, TikTok, if you see me posting that and you use that link, we do earn commission on that, and I can request like promo codes and stuff like that. So you do that, good way to get your merch, help me get some commission, I get you a discount. But yeah, without further ado, let's talk about it. So first division I want to start off with is let's go NFC South. No, let's go NFC North, because that is who I'm currently representing right now. So that division consists of the Green Bay Packers, the Minnesota Vikings, the Detroit Lions, and the Chicago Bears. Now, the Chicago Bears did something that they failed to do for Justin Fields. They got Caleb Williams, a rookie quarterback out of USC. Kid's going to be all right. I don't got no beef with him. I think he's going to be good. I don't think he's going to be the best quarterback from this draft class. And yeah, I'm a little biased, and we'll get into that a little later. But they went out. They got him Keenan Allen from the Chargers, so he's got a wide receiver. He already had Darnell Mooney. I believe he's still there. I could be wrong. Apologies if he isn't. They got a dope tight end in Cole Kmet. Like, I'm in 3 fantasy leagues this year, and I got Kmet in 2 of them, just based off of, hey, I think this could be my solid guy for if I have Andrews in 1 league, I believe that I have him in. I'm like, okay, well, when Andrews is on his bye, or if I need a viable flex option, we'll put him here. So he's got that. His run game is still decent. It'll be interesting to see how the line holds up. And then my thing that concerns me with Chicago isn't their offense, because I feel like they'll be fine. It's their defense, because they've been losing piece after piece after piece. But they've also added some pieces. Like, I remember a couple years back, they traded to my Baltimore Ravens. They traded Roquan Smith to us. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So I do not have them finishing first in this division, though. I think if I had to rank them anywhere, I'm probably going to put them 3rd. And I really hate to do this, but I'm going to have my reasonings. The Vikings, I am probably going to end up putting... Let me think about it. No, let's talk about the Vikings. I'm gonna keep Chicago at 3rd for right now. We might switch that towards the end once everything's said and talked about. So the Minnesota Vikings drafted a promising rookie quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. Unfortunately for them, that quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, happened to go down during training camp. He is out for the season. So now, the season at the time of this recording relies on Sam Darnold. And there's mixed reviews on Sam Darnold. There are some people that are like, oh, he never got a fair chance when he was with the Jets. He never got a fair chance when he was here. And I'm like, yeah, but at the end of the day, it's still Sam Darnold. So, however, that's not to say they are completely shot, because they have, if I'm remembering this correctly, TJ Hawkinson is now with the Vikings, so he's there. Nope, that's the Bengals wide receiver. See, I got LSU on the mind because, they, we'll talk about that on the college football recap episode. I don't want to get into that because that's a whole nother tangent. But they have Jay Jettas and Justin Jefferson, who I hope has a phenomenal season because I drafted him in one of my leagues as well. They now have a viable running back because if I'm remembering this correctly, I believe Aaron Jones from this team went to Minnesota because we had a lot of in-division rivals signing with other teams. So I think he signed with them. I know Patrick Queen, PQ signed with Pittsburgh. And then I believe Saquon also signed with the Eagles. But we'll get into that a little later too. So he's got those options. Defense, I believe their defensive unit is still pretty strong too. But I'm going to put them at 4th for right now. Not because I don't think they're a talented team or anything. I just think Sam Darnold is going to struggle throughout the season. So now that brings us to who I think is going to take. No, just kidding. I don't think Green Bay is going to be number 1 in the division either. Don't get me wrong. They're talented. I believe they went out and got Josh Jacobs from the Raiders. And at first I was really excited because I was like, cool, Josh Jacobs. And as we previously talked about, Aaron Jones, 1-2 dynamic punch. And then Aaron Jones gets traded, I want to say. No, he signed with the Vikings. They wouldn't trade him to an in-division rival. Well, I don't know. Because, Hawkinson was a division rival for the Lions, and they did that. So, I guess money talks, BS walks. That said, though, you got a promising quarterback in Jordan Love. However, being a Packers fan, let me say this, and I've said it on the TikTok podcast page, Jordan Love deserved a nice contract. Jordan Love did not deserve that nice of a contract. So you got that, you got that, you got that. The defense, you still got Jair Alexander there. You still got your guys. What else? What else can I say about Green Bay? You got Christian Watson, wide receiver. He's going to ball out. But I have them finishing in second place for one reason and one reason only. And that is because your NFC North division winners this season are going to be your Detroit Lions. That's right. They're going back to back on that division title. Why do I think this? Well, one, they got an amazing head coach in Dan Campbell. Two, they got the sun god, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Three, have you seen their run game? Give me just a second, y'all. I need to readjust the mic real quick. But have y'all seen their run game? Like, not to quote AJ Styles, but it's phenomenal. Then you got Laporta. So that's just an offensive juggernaut right there. Defense, they've always been sound defensively since like the late 2000s when they had like Ndamukong Suh, guys like that. But yeah, give me the Detroit Lions winning the NFC North. So now let's transfer from the North and go south. And we'll talk about the NFC South, which consists of your Carolina Panthers, the New Orleans Saints, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, in fourth place, I have the Tampa. No. Scratch that, reverse it, bring it back. That would get clipped heavily if I finish that sentence. I have, in fourth place, the Carolina Panthers. Now, why do I say this? Well, the Carolina Panthers quarterback is Bryce Young. We didn't get to see him play last year. He might go through a rookie slump. Your running back is no longer Christian McCaffrey. It's no longer Blue Eyes White Privilege. Credit to Chiseled Adonis for that. That's not my joke. I'm just... But yeah. So you no longer have him. Your wide receivers are now 30-something-year-old Adam Thielen. Which, don't get me wrong, he's still productive. He helped me win my fantasy league last year, my money league, so shout out that. And Xavier Legit, who was just drafted out of, he was just drafted this past year, or this past offseason. So, and when I was reading up on, like, Legit's bio, when I was doing my draft stuff, sorry, y'all, I'm going to talk about fantasy football a lot. It's part of the game. When I was doing my research on him, he had 1 year where he only put up like 450-something yards, and then he exploded the next year with like 1,000 yards. And I'm not going to label this kid a bust or anything because I have a rule. You cannot be considered a bust until you have played at least a full 2 to 3 years in the NFL. But that said, I think they lost their tight end, didn't they? Because Hayden Hurst was their tight end. He's with Ravens West with the Chargers now. So, yeah, I have them finishing in fourth place. Now, in third place, I have your New Orleans Saints. And I know a lot of people are like, yo, D, where are you going with this? Because it seems like you're going to pick one of the other two teams to finish first, which obviously by process of elimination, we can verify that. But why do I say I don't foresee the Saints finishing any higher than third? One, I get he was injured a lot. I get he was hurt more often than not. But you have to replace Michael Thomas's production. And yes, that's not the Michael Thomas. That's not 2019 MT coming in here, doing this thing. We have to see how Kamara's going to do. And yes, you could argue back to the wide receiver point. Chris Olave, he's a dog. I also drafted him in one of my leagues. But your tight end situation, I know we were talking about, me and a couple buddies were talking about one of their tight ends. The other one is Taysom Hill. And yes, Taysom Hill can be this cool gadget weapon, But that man is getting up there in age, and there's going to be wear and tear on that body. So that said, for those reasons, and we also don't know how their defense is going to hold up. They got the kicker in Will Lutz, so he's going to come in clutch when he needs to, but, like, you can't just have it rely on the kicker unless your kicker's, like, one of the top 5, which in my opinion, you know, I'm biased, so Tucker, Elliott, Dicker, pick your other 2, because we could be here all night if I try to figure out 2 more. Now, your NFC South division winners of last season were your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. However, I don't have them repeating. And a lot of people are going to call me crazy for who I have winning because y'all are picking up the pieces. You're putting the puzzle together. But Baker Mayfield is a above average quarterback. I actually defended him on Twitter earlier because there was a Browns fan talking mad crap. And I'm like, didn't he lead y'all to your first playoff win in however long it was? Like back in 2020, I know it's been a minute since they've made the playoffs, but like still, he led y'all there and y'all crap on him like that. Like, be for real. Tampa went from Brady, which is the undisputed GOAT, to, you know, little in-between stuff. But I think it went right from him to Baker Mayfield, which Baker Mayfield is a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's not one of these guys who's like, I could be a starter. He is serviceable. He is more than serviceable. So you got him. Your run game situation, I'm not going to lie, I'm not too familiar with Tampa's run game. Or I feel like if I am, I'm going to do one of these afterwards and be like, damn, how did I forget that? Wide receivers, they got Mike Evans. They got guys. However, have y'all seen, sorry, y'all, adjusting the mic again. Have to do that every, now and then just to make sure the mic stays on. But have y'all seen the moves the Atlanta Falcons have made this offseason? Their quarterback is Kirk Cousins. Not only that, they double dipped on a quarterback this offseason and brought in Michael Penix Jr. So let's say Kirk doesn't work out, you can put Penix in there. And yeah, so they did that. They got their plethora of wide receivers and whatnot. They also have, let me think about this roster for a minute. Bijan. They got Bijan Robinson, which Arthur Blank, you dumb. I know he's not their coach anymore, but Arthur Blank, you dumb sack of nuts. Why were you not using him last season? Like, I remember talking to my boy Michael. You've seen him on the podcast previously. And we would just both be sitting there messaging each other like, what the hell is this dumbass doing? I do apologize for drinking a lot on the podcast. But it is hot in here. So, hydrate before you dihydrate, as I like to say. But yeah, for those reasons, they went out. They signed Justin Simmons. They traded for another defensive players. So for all of these reasons combined, I have your Atlanta Falcons as the 2024-2025 NFC South division winners. Now, we've covered the South. We've covered the North. Let's cover the NFC East next, and we'll wrap it up with the West. So the NFC East has a rich history, right? You got your Dallas Cowboys, them boys. You got the Philadelphia Eagles, fly Eagles fly. You got the Washington Commanders, football team, whatever you want to call them, They started off as the Redskins. A lot of people still know them as that. Your choice to call them what you want. I'm going to use the proper terminology, though, because I'm trying to maintain a professional image here. So your Washington Commanders and the New York Giants. Now, I have said this on the pod before, and I will say it again. The biggest mistake that the New York Giants made this offseason was letting Saquon Barkley walk. And let alone not just walk, but walk to a division rival at that. What are we doing? What are we doing? That said, they did make some nice moves in the offseason, particularly the draft. They drafted my boy Malik Neighbors out of LSU. So Danny Dimes, Vanilla Vic, whatever you want to call him, has his wide receiver one again. But your quarterback is Danny Dimes. He has not proven much anything. And, I got some friends who are diehard Giants fans. Much love to them. But I got y'all finishing last. I'm sorry. But just based off of everything I've seen, like, your defense is nasty. Don't get me wrong. Shout out Deontay Banks. But I don't foresee how they can finish any higher than fourth. Now, in third place, I also hate to do this because Washington made a lot of good moves, or DC, whatever you want to call them. They made a lot of really good moves. They drafted mine and my boy Isaiah. You've seen Isaiah before too. He's been on the pod before. They drafted our guy Jaden Daniels out of LSU. They signed Austin Eckler, who, despite popular belief, I still think he's got a little something left in the tank. They have Scary Terry at wide receiver. Now, defense, that's a little up in the air. I'm not that familiar with the Commanders' defense. I got friends that tell me about it, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. But is it going to be very, demure? We may not know yet. So we'll see. And now, here's my thing. Do I want to pick a definite division winner for this division? Because it always comes down to the same two teams. You know that trend on TikTok where it's like, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. They both reached for the, you know what? You know what I'm referencing. I feel like that is always your Dallas Cowboys and your Philadelphia Eagles. Now let's talk about the Cowboys. On one side, you got Dak Prescott, which I'm going to give the man his credit for all the Cowboys fans that crap on Dak Prescott. He is not a bad quarterback. Hell, he's not even an average quarterback. He's an above average, maybe even above average quarterback. Hell, he was in the talks for the MVP last season, so you can't sit here and be like, oh, Dak's trash. Is he getting you results that you want right away? No. And that's frustrating, and I understand that. Trust me, the AFC counterpart to that, my squad, I get it because, I want my guy to take that next step. But that said, the Cowboys brought back Ezekiel Elliott. That doesn't move me. Ezekiel Elliott's up there in age. That's not trying to shit on Zeke. That's just what it is. They brought in Dalvin Cook. Now, a lot of people were saying Dalvin Cook's washed. I'm like, I don't think so. I've seen what he had in that playoff run with Baltimore. The reason y'all didn't see much of it is because, Harbs was being I don't even want to revisit that. Because if I revisit that, it's just, But yeah, that said, CeeDee Lamb just got its extension. Parsons is still waiting on an extension. Dak is still waiting on an extension. Is it possible those could be things that are brought in as locker room distractions? Potentially. Do I think the Dallas Cowboys will make the playoffs this year? Absolutely, 100%. Do I think they win the division? Well, it all comes down to their head coach. And I have told my boys this before. I do not trust Mike McCarthy. I didn't trust him when he was the Packers head coach. I don't trust him now. And for that reason, I feel like they are going to not win the division. And I feel like Philly is going to win the division. And this isn't me sitting here and being like, oh, I'm picking sides. I'm picking sides because I'm cool with this person or I'm cool with this person. But here's my reasonings for picking Philly. They got Jalen Hurts. And I'm going to give Jalen Hurts his flowers too. That man has been in a Super Bowl. That man has been there. Did he lose the Super Bowl? Yes. Does he have experience playing in a Super Bowl? Yes. So out of all the 4 quarterbacks in that division, he has experience there. They went out and signed Saquon Barkley. And yes, you could argue, oh, well, they lost Jason Kelce on the line, and he was the heart and soul of that O-line and even that team. And I would agree with you 100%. However, they drafted the replacement center for Kelce a couple years back, and he's been, molding that guy into the center that they need him to be. You still got one of the top 5, I would argue, receiving rooms. A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith. They went out and traded with a division rival again in the Commanders and got Jahan Dotson. That's their wide receiver 3 that they were missing. Your tight end, I want to say it's still Golder. It might not be. My boy who's an Eagles fan or any of my Eagles fans will correct me if I was wrong there. But for that reason, I have the Philadelphia Eagles taking the division. For those reasons. Defensively, they're still solid. And they got Jake Elliott. And like I just said previously, Jake Elliott, top 3 kicker, in my opinion. So far, that gives us the Eagles with a playoff berth, the Falcons with a playoff berth, and we covered the North. So that's the Lions with a playoff berth. Now let's cover the NFC West. In last place, this is a tough one because that division is your Los Angeles Rams, your Arizona Cardinals, your Seattle Seahawks, and your San Francisco 49ers. And you can sit here and look at the puzzle and be like, okay, well, he's obviously going to put that certain team at 1. And you may be right, you may be wrong. We'll get to that when we get to that. This is my show, not yours. Anyhow, in 4th place, I am having a conflict of interest because my mind is telling me one thing and my heart's telling me something else because Seattle has our old defensive coordinator in Mike Macdonald. However, what else does Seattle really have? They got Geno Smith, but Geno Smith can be hit or miss. You can get, oh, they tried to write me off, but I ain't right back, Geno. Or you could get, oh, that's a big fella coming at me when Aaron Donald was still playing. And we'll get into that in a minute as well. Or do I put Arizona at 2nd? Because what wide receivers does Arizona have? Outside of Marvin Harrison Jr., yes, I'm familiar. They got Greg Dortch. If you're not a Cardinals fan, you don't care about Greg Dortch like that, unless you got him in fantasy. But that said, the more things change, the more they stay the same. I'm putting the Seahawks at 4th, actually. Calling audible. That said, I am going to put the Cardinals at 3rd. I don't think they're quite there yet. I think it's going to take like a year or 2 for, Kyler and Marvin to get it figured out. In 2nd place, do I want to keep the Cardinals? You know what? Let's switch that too. We're going to put the Cardinals in second place, and we're going to move the Rams down to third. Now, why do I say this? Is this for clickbait? Is this for views? Is this for engagement? Maybe. Or is this just me, being like, okay, maybe the fact that the Rams lost Aaron Donald, Matthew Stafford, while great, is getting up there in age. The running backs, I don't want to say they don't move me, but, it's not a CMC type guy. It's not a Saquon. It's not a Dereck Henry. Oh, it's not even a Pacheco. But you got Cooper Kupp and you got Puka Nacua. The tight end situation, So for that, we're moving the Rams down to third. We're going to move the Cardinals up to second, but I still stand by what I said. But then again, the Cardinals lost Hollywood Brown, and he was wide receiver 1. They lost DeAndre Hopkins recently to the Titans. Granted, they're replacing that production with Marvin Harrison Jr. And, I'd feel a lot more confident if, like Arizona was to be like, okay, well, I know he's suspended for week 1, but go out and sign like Michael Thomas or something. Go out and sign Hunter Renfrow. Then I could probably keep them. And I apologize, y'all, if I'm going back and forth. But one thing my mama will tell you is I can be very indecisive at times. So scratch that, reverse it again. Seattle's staying at 4. Mike McDonald's going to have to figure it out. Give it a year, 2 years, they'll be fine. 2 to 3 years, they'll be fine. The Cardinals are moving to third. The Rams are getting bumped back into second. Now the team, sorry about that, got to fix the mic again, y'all. Just 1 second. There we go. But the team that is going to win this division is the San Francisco 49ers. Now, why do I say this? They won it last year. They were in the NFC Conference championship game. Their only glaring issue is Trent Williams holding out of camp. I believe he's still with them. I could be wrong. He might be with the Commanders now. It's one of the other 2 ways around. I think he's with them now currently, though. There was a whole drama around Ayuk, similar to how Debo's situation was a few years back. However, that said, Ayuk got his contract, so he's not in Pittsburgh, which, being a Ravens fan, I'm happy about that. He's not with the Commanders, which I'm a little sad about because he could have balled out with Jaden Daniels and Scary Terry, Eckler, and all those boys out there. But you take all that. Brock Purdy doesn't need to be a great quarterback. And he's not. I'm not saying he's a trash quarterback. What I am saying is he is a system quarterback. Because if you put any other guy with those weapons, you put Dak, you put Lamar, you put, I can't say Mahomes because Mahomes is just, you put, maybe with the exception of like Daniel Jones because he'd find a way to screw it up still. Mac Jones. Jalen Hurts. But you get what I'm saying. Jalen Hurts will excel in that system is what I'm saying. But now, those are my reasonings for, because they got Ayuk, they got Debo, they got CMC. Who's stopping that, bro? So off rip, we got the Niners, the Falcons, the Eagles, and there's a division we're missing. The NFC South's the Falcons, the NFC East is the Eagles, the NFC North is the Lions. So those are your 4 division winners that are going to make the playoffs. Now, who do we give those other spots to? Dallas makes it in as a wild card. And as much as I want to give Green Bay the nod, I don't know. I got this eerie feeling. Because there's what, 6 playoff? It's either 6 or it's 7. I think it's still 6, though. So if that's the case, then give me the Packers over the Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers miss out this year for some reason. And that's what we have that at. Now, y'all see why I said we're only doing this as NFC and AFC? Because this is already at 34 minutes, which is longer than 35 now, which is longer than I like to go. But stuff coming up on the podcast. Your AFC prediction video will be out shortly after this video drops. Your weekly pick'em video for week 1 will be dropping sometime soon. I talked to my boy, y'all know him as the Pagan Prince. You see him comment from time to time. Great friend, co-worker of mine. He was like, you need to oversaturate the channel. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Because if we don't, what am I doing? How is the channel going to grow if it's staying stagnant like that? So AFC predictions coming up, your week 1 pick'ems, and that will be a weekly series, like all 17 games, playoffs, Super Bowl, might have like a Super Bowl special, something a little different for that. But yeah, that's coming up. I know I said that I wanted to do the Kobe Bryant tribute video, or the player profile tribute video. However, I was not able to get to that in time, the time frame that I would like, because I wanted to drop it on 8/24, Kobe Day. So I would like to hold on to that and put it in the vault and save that for another special occasion. And I think y'all, if you piece it together, when I'm probably going to drop that video. And that's not going to be me reading from a script or anything. That's going to be just like this, coming from the heart, talking to y'all like this. It's essentially going to be a love letter to my favorite basketball player. Speaking of basketball, we will be doing an NBA season preview episode. There might be some stuff we cover here and there. But that said, I do appreciate y'all's support, appreciate the love, appreciate the continued support. Remember, we are doing a giveaway at 500 subscribers. So, 500. Once we get to there, the winner, and I'm going to keep repeating it until we get the channel to 500, because this is what I want to do full time. I want to make a career out of this. You know how Remy LeBeau, the Gambit, Deadpool, Wolverine, he was like, "Ooh, I'm about to make a name for myself here." I want to make a name for myself here. Y'all let people know what happened here today. And yes, if y'all didn't pick up on it based off the last 2 videos, I am a huge Marvel nerd. That said, basketball, that's coming up. Appreciate the love, appreciate the support. And like I was talking about before, the ADHD kicked in. Giveaway, 500 subscribers. We're doing a mini helmet. It will either be an NFL helmet of your choice. So let's say you're a Chargers fan and you win. We'll get you a mini Chargers helmet. Let's say you're like, hey, I don't really follow the NFL. That's cool. You follow college ball. We'll get you a college helmet. LSU, Bama, Tennessee, whatever, Wisconsin, you name it. But I appreciate your love. I appreciate your support. We're going to wrap this up now, because if I put a 40-minute video out, people are going to be like, what the hell, dude? Much love, y'all. See y'all next time.